of your motions can make the continents ring. Yet in all your might and glory, you vanished from the skies, leaving just another story, missed millions of man-made lives. They tell of how you fell from the sky.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of the Free American Hour. I'm your host, Clay Douglas. And my guest today is Ray Gano. He's the author of Prophezine, or the webmaster, creator of website Prophezine. Hello, Ray. How are you?
Hey, Clayton. How you doing, bud? Early Friday morning. Got some coffee going?
Yeah, me too. Spinning it right now, putting it in the right molecular situation. Now, tell me about Prophezine. What is it? Now, I've got a book out. Of course, I have to put a word in for that. It's called Mystery Babylon. Mystery Babylon. And I said 2,000 years ago, the Bible told us of the coming New World Order as the eighth beast, the mark of the beast. Now, I find it interesting that we've been told not for 2,000 years. We've been told not to take the mark of the beast, not the mark of the beast. Don't take it. Don't take it. But if you don't, you won't be able to buy or sell. And we for 2,000 years, mankind's wondered what the hell they were talking about. And suddenly, we've got the technology today, and we've got the advertising. The advertising pharmaceutical companies are advertising for this little chip. Yeah, George used to forget his medication, but now we've got the health link. This little chip reminds him when he's supposed to take his medication, and lets the doctor know how much money he's got in his bank account. What about that? Is that part of? Is that? And I've often asked, and I'll ask you this direct: is the Bible prophecy, or was it a plan 2,000 years ago, 3,000 years ago?
Well, prophecy and plan are kind of almost one and the same. What it is it's showing, God's plan and His plan for the future and things. To answer your mark of the beast question, is Uncle Bob getting a chip in him due to medical reasons? The mark of the beast, I have to disagree, because we read in Revelation 13 that the mark of the beast consists of several factors, not just some chip that make it implanted in your skin. Now, is a draconian money system or a draconian IT system the mark of the beast? No, it isn't. It's just another form of tyranny that has taken place over the many, hundreds of years and stuff since man has been around. Man has always worked to control man. But the mark of the beast, what that is not only a form of identification, it's also a form of money or barter or trade system. It is also a form of a religious system. It's a political system. It's all wrapped up into one. And, socioeconomic system. It's just not, so many people look at a mark as the biochip and say, oh, that's the mark of the beast. Well, if you do not accept it and you don't fall into the same realms of religious, social, legal, so forth and so on, then it's not the mark of the beast. What it is, though, it is a form of a tyrannical, system maintaining money or maintaining identity or something like that. The mark of the beast is a lot of things all in one to take place, not just a biochip placed under your skin. Does that make sense?
Well, the beast system, I mean, to me, that's the whole banking system that we got here, the whole Rothschild, Rockefeller, International Monetary Fund. Is that, would you agree that that's the beast system that perhaps the Bible talks about?
I think what it is a part, but what we got to remember, is here in the West, we tend to just look at things and think that we are the center of the universe. other agencies and entities in the world. You know, China has their own form of IMF. Britain has their own form of IMF. Now, IMF is just one of these conglomerates of banks, financial systems and stuff. IMF is kind of at the top of the heap, but IMF is not the end-all, be-all in financial global economic system. Again, China has their own form of the IMF, and so for us to say that the IMF is not truly looking at how the economic system goes globally. Understand?
I'm not exactly following you. What do we do? What you now? Your book is called "The Coming Storm."
Mm-hmm.
What are you looking at? I mean, I've been talking about the one world government, the new world order. You know, since I heard since Bush's words sent a chill up my spine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah.
What I talk about in my book is what's called "Survive the Coming Storm." I am one who believes that we are going to face some sort of economic downfall, be it by depression or be it by hyperinflation. I personally think it's going to be hyperinflation. If you look at history, history shows us that our nation has been through 2 hyperinflations already and 1 depression. And it happens almost cyclical, almost every 75 to 100 years. Our nation enters a 25-year span of chaos, and this can be almost backtracked all the way to the Middle Ages, to the when our nation kind of came into the idea form. But almost every 100 years, our nation has 25 years of chaos, and so what I believe is that we entered that time of chaos around 2005, 2006. And that our nation is again going to go through a financial downfall of some form. We did it during the Revolutionary War. We did it during the Civil War. We did it during World War II. And we are at that time in history again. And seeing what we have built via currency system and things like that, it's only natural that what will take place is the house of cards will fall. Now, again, how it's going to affect things, I can't say 100%. You know, we may have in some parts of the economic system a downfall or depression, and in other parts of the economic system we may have hyperinflation. But no matter what I teach in my book is how can we know that it's coming. We know the writing is on the wall. We have a chance to maybe do something about it and help our families weather this storm that is encroaching upon us. Because there's nothing we can do to stop it. There's absolutely nothing. And so what we can do is learn to leverage what's taking place, start preparing our families, and then be able to basically ride out the chaos and then leverage and have, because we're not going to be able, unless you've taken the time to store up 20 years worth of food and everything like that, you're not going to have enough of what you need. So what you do is store up what you need, and that will then give us time while the rest of the sheep are running around going crazy and running after this and chasing after that. We'll have time because we don't have to run to Walmart. We don't have to do this. We don't have to do that because we've made preparations ahead of time, much like Joseph did in the Bible with 7 years of famine.
The Bible tells us what to do about the whole mark of the beast or the beast system. It says, come out of her, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
You know, yeah. I've been reporting, Ray, on the New World Order takeover. Now, you say there's 25 years of chaos. That's not just limited to the United States, because I feel, after studying history, that what's happening in the United States right now, all the preparations are set up for a communistic type of a dictatorship that is following right in the footsteps of what happened with in Russia. They murdered the Tsar and they set up communism, and they went on to kill or imprison 60 million white Christian Russians. Now, I'm actually going by the book that your inference to prophecy that your background is Christian. You've studied the Bible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I am. Yeah.
Okay. What particular sect of Christianity were you raised in?
If you, for example, I don't know, I really don't say what denomination I am or anything. I go to an independent fundamental Baptist church where you live out in the country. It's about 50 farms, 50 families big. Not very big, just a little typical small country out in the middle of nowhere church. We stand on the King James Bible. We don't do those fancy junk that you see in the majority of churches today. We don't put on rock shows or, skits or plays or anything. We
can't dance.
Out of the King James.
Can you dance? Does your church allow dancing?
I mean, our church allows anything that you want to do.
Okay.
Dancing in the aisles and everything. It's not really like that Pentecostal stuff or anything like that. No.
Okay. Now.
If you're down home, just like I said, down home, out, conservative. Man, just one of your good old down home country conservative churches, and so yeah, something like that.
Okay. What part of the country are you in?
Texas.
Texas. All right. I'm a Texan in exile, so nice to have you here. I got Ornery in the chat room. He's a Texan too. He's my bouncer in the chat room. But what about what do you think we're facing? I mean, they're gonna round Americans up, put them in FEMA camps. What do you see in your Prophezine? What do you see occurring here? I mean, now we've been. By the way, what sometimes, and I want to get your opinion on this. I've told people, said, what if we had been in Armageddon for the last 100 years and nobody told us? We've had almost 200 million people killed by their own governments in this century. What happened in Russia? 10 million starved to death in the Ukraine. That'd be like 10 million people dying of starvation in Kansas, for God's sakes. So what are we facing here?
Yeah,
I missed that. You broke up a little bit.
Is some serious economic hardship. I believe that we are facing some serious food hardship, because and this is something that I've been reporting on quite a bit, is the food issues. Crops have been dying.
So it appears you're calling back into a live show. We are reconnecting you now.
Okay, we broke up here, lost something. I got it all back now. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead, Ray.
I believe that we are at we had a lot of things coming at us a now. So, for example, I do believe that we are facing some sort of economic hardship now. It's going to get worse. I also think that we're going to be facing some sort of food hardship, and that is with the crops failing. The weather last year in fact, the weather over the past several years has taken a major toll upon the entire food industry. I know here in Texas that we've had drought now for 5 years, and I live on a cattle ranch, and the price of beef is going up horrendously. The cost of a 1 pound of 80/20 hamburger meat, which is pretty low grade, is $5 a pound. So we're seeing prices rise up immensely. Peanut butter has gone up 40%. The Texas Cattlemen's Association stated that we are going to have a beef, basically a shortage of beef till about 2014, and so beef is going to go even higher. Couple that with the inflation that's taking place right now, more and more people are going to not be able to even afford to go shopping anymore. And so people really don't care about that. What they care about is their own selves, their own families, and what's affecting them now. And that's what's affecting them now. We're seeing inflation take place, and the money that we are using, or this currency, is becoming toilet paper. And we're seeing a repeat of history. I mean, look at the Weimar Republic when people were wheeling around wheelbarrows full of paper, and it was cheaper to burn their money than buy wood. And I think that's what's coming. And in fact, I think it's going to be a lot worse than the Great Depression. So, we're seeing food shortages. We're seeing majorly high unemployment. That's 9% garbage that the government is reporting. That's horse hockey. I mean, we are sitting right now about 18 to 21% unemployment. Look at how many people are on food stamps nationwide. In the olden days, during the Great Depression, we had soup kitchens. Well, guess what? The government did a good job of taking soup kitchens out of the picture and controlled it. And so, but if everybody who's on food stamps today would be in food kitchen lines, you would see what's going on. There'd be masses of people standing in line just for a bowl of soup. Just like the Depression days we're living in. It's going to be a lot worse. And so these are the things that I see in the immediate. And it's the immediate. We can talk about New World Order and all this other stuff and everything like that. But that's what we're seeing right now. To me, it's not the reason of why we are here doesn't matter as much as that we're here. And I hate to sound like that, because can we stop the New World Order? No, we can't. It's just that's a natural phenomenon throughout history. What we can do is essentially we can throw off the chains and shackles of tyranny and do something about it. That's something that we can do. And eventually I believe that this nation is going to do that. I do see possibly a some form of civil war or something, because a massive war on our soil is what usually takes place historically. Again, Revolutionary War, massive war on our soil. Civil War, massive war on our soil. Now, during the Great Depression, it was war in World War II, so it was war everywhere else. But our land was severely affected. But I believe that if we have hyperinflation, I believe that we're going to have a massive war on our soil. And so we can go one of two paths. And we've always done this, again, historically. And what we have done is we as a nation have always chosen the right path, because we've been a Christian nation. Well, this nation no longer is a Christian nation. We don't maintain Christian principles. We don't maintain the Ten Commandments. We've taken prayer out of school. We abort millions of babies a year. We do this, we do that. We are no longer a Christian nation. Our children don't even know who God is. And so, in all of that, we have the choice. Let me finish my thought here.
Go ahead.
We have a choice of going either to the left, or we have a choice of going to the right. I honestly don't know what our generation will choose. Will we choose socialism, communism, or will we choose the right way of how we've always lived our nation and get back to God? We're kind of almost at that crossroads. And I mean, you look at the protests going on in Wall Street and all over the nation, this Occupy garbage. That's right out of the Marxist playbook. I mean, we see socialism and communism starting to make their inroads in. And so I don't know where this nation is going to go. I pray to God that we choose the way of God, like we've always chosen. But looking at the chaos and everything that's going on out there, there's a chance this nation may choose, you know what, well, we haven't tried socialism yet. Let's give it a try. Well, they may. And then all hell will break loose. And I think what will happen, if that does happen, we'll see civil war. So
they are actually preparing us for that, and that's what FEMA is about. I have a film out called True Face of FEMA. I went and filmed the first Homeland Security meeting down at Sandia Labs in Albuquerque. Colonel John Brinkerhoff of FEMA was lecturing law enforcement. And he said we're in for a war, a long war. And unlike other wars, it's going to be fought on American soil. And the enemy is weak. The enemy doesn't have tanks and planes. And the reason they don't is because I believe the enemy he is talking about is us. The people rising up, just what's happening in Wall Street right now, they're rising up against the banks. The banks are, to me, are the bad guys. They are this whole Federal Reserve system, this whole fractional banking system is a total scam. You know, your grandchildren would never pay off the debt by, the George Bush giving the $2 trillion back to the banksters. And I've been reporting on this for a long time, but I did come up with an answer, and I want to a plan. You know, there's nothing I can do about the Rothschilds sitting in the city of London. I can't affect that. I can't touch that. I can tell you about it. I can give you their history. I got the history in my book, Mystery Babylon. I got the whole history of the Rothschilds, how they interfered with the Civil War, how they backed both sides, and the answer I came up with is basically what you and probably your family have been doing for centuries. My plan was called Liberty Villages, is called Liberty Villages, and what I wanted to do, the ranchers I've talked to over the last 20 years, I've lived in New Mexico, I've lived in Texas, the ranchers I've talked to said they can't get enough help. You know, the old song, how you going to get them back on the farm after they've seen L.A.? They've been seduced by a motion picture. Our children have been, our young people have been seduced by television, and a lot of our youngest and finest, like Pat Tillman, have been sent overseas and massacred in illegal wars, unjust wars, based on lies. But if we got back to doing exactly what God intended for us, and using what God gave us, if we grew our own food, raised our own animals, and generated our own electricity from the sun and the wind, without putting the electric companies and the oil companies and the pharmaceutical companies in the middle, taking their share of the profit share. I said the Obama's idea of greening America is to sell the top of that mountain to a foreign corporation so they can put windmills up there that they bought in China, and so they can pipe the electricity down to the power company and sell it to you at an increased price. Why don't we just go straight? And to me, that's what Joseph did in Egypt. He went down, as people started growing things, they became productive. You know, the only thing they didn't have is maybe they didn't have the internet, maybe they didn't have the technology. But that's the basis, according to Richard Kelly Hoskins. The basis of every civilization is the self-sufficient family farm, breed farm, or ranch. What do you think?
Totally agree. Totally agree. I totally agree. Now, I want to caveat that, though, is that no matter what, you also need people. So to be the lone ranger out in the middle of nowhere, having a supported family ranch, I mean, no matter what, you need that interaction with other people, and that's just we're social by nature, and so we need that. But I'm totally in agreement with you. That's kind of how we live out here. We plant gardens, we raise chickens and turkeys, and we got cattle on the ranch here and everything. I would like to get more off the grid, but right now, I'm doing other things. Eventually want to start up, tilapia farming. But yeah, become more self-sufficient so that I don't need to depend on Walmart or some of the other bigger things or something. We hunt. In fact, we're going out deer hunting probably this weekend or next. So yeah, I believe in definitely being self-sufficient, and it teaches skills to our kids that they'll need in the future.
That's it. We don't know how to grow our own food. Most people grow up in the city. I don't. No. I don't know how to clean. I couldn't slaughter a goat. Might be able to milk it, but I don't know if I could do the what else it takes to survive or run a ranch. Now, the Liberty Village concept is Because just exactly what you said, the reason I've devoted a lot of time and a lot of thought to that. You know, if you took 5 acres of your ranch and set it up as a Liberty Village, you put teepees, which cost about $3,000 a piece, or yurts, which cost about $10,000 a piece, or what I've got on my website is dome homes that are built right down there in Texas. You simply lay down a bag, blow it up, and under a tarp, and then you spray the tarp down. The tarp contains concrete, and you got a concrete dome home in half the time that it would take to construct a normal home. And but even with the teepees, well, if there's a tornado coming, you roll it up. You just roll it up and get into a shelter. And if you've got the people living on that 5 acres of your ranch, and you can teach them, some of those people would be veterans that may be homeless in America now, and I think that's a tragedy, along with the fact that I've had more of my brothers from Vietnam kill themselves than were killed in Vietnam by the Viet Cong. Now, if the veterans are there, you know, anytime a communist regime takes over a country, they go after 3 classes of people in order. They go after the farmers first because they don't want you being able to feed yourself. The 9th plank is Communist Manifesto is corporate farms. 2, they go after the intelligentsia. That's anybody that's smart enough to figure out what they're doing. And 3, they go after the veterans or police that are still loyal to the old regime. That's the stage we're in now, because there's been a war on you farmers and ranchers for the last 100 years, wouldn't you say? I mean, why can't you grow hemp? We can buy it from China. We can buy it from the Philippines. How come we can't grow it here?
Well, again, it's you can't grow hemp and everything, and hemp could sure help a lot and everything, but hemp is not the end all, the be all. We like hemp, which is grow crops normally. A lot of, you know, they've been controlling the seeds and everything through the whole GMO processes and all that other stuff. But yeah, I mean, I know that when I grow and stuff, I use nothing but heirloom seeds now, and I collect my seeds every year. After I leave certain parts of my plants that are dedicated to seeds, and I harvest my seeds so that I've got next year's seeds to grow and things like that. But what we need to do is we need to get back to these skills. I mean, a lot of people, we've been forced into the cities and stuff like that. Well, you know what? Why do you need a beautiful green backyard? Why don't you fill up that backyard and actually start making that ground productive and plant a big family garden? And you'd be amazed at how much we can produce, and then also save money. But, you know, people are so programmed to, we need a beautiful green backyard. You know, horse hockey. Fill it up and make it useful. What's that green yard do? How is it being productive to you and your family? It isn't. You know,
I have
money to go out and